guys, this is Tina from Shabby Dabby Doodah. Welcome back to my channel. So today we're here for another one of our Tidy Friday sessions, and you can probably see here I have this huge box from IKEA, and it's full of stamps. Now these are my vintage type stamps that, you know, I really love to use in journals. I've got another one similar size to this full of, would you believe, you know, stamps that I used to use for card making and things like that. So what I want to do, I've got this other container here which fits just here in this slot on my little you know, crafting trolley thing, and I'm just going to sort out a few of the stamps that I really use a lot, that I can put into this container to have really accessible and really easy to get to. So that's what I'm planning on doing today. I don't know whether we will get through this whole box because obviously it's pretty enormous, so you know, we might not actually get through the whole thing. And then what we'll probably do is in another week we will do the other box full of the card making type stamps, and then we'll just see how many, you know, we can maybe get rid of and things. So, you know, I'm going to move this box off the desk and we'll see what we've got. So first off, obviously I've got all my lovely crafty individual stamps that I got during my collaboration with them, and they are all still in packets. So these are all stamps that I really do love to use, so I'm going to keep them straight away in this box. Now it may be that I will decide that actually I'm better off having the stamps out of their packaging, because of course the packaging is taking up quite a fair amount of room. You know, if I take them out, you can straight away see I'm going to obviously be able to get a lot more stamps in here. I don't know whether that's a good way to store them. I mean, I do see other people on YouTube with their stamps just stored like that and not in their packaging. You know, so that's, yeah, maybe that's probably the best way. Do you know, I think I'm going to do that. But what I'm going to do is keep the packaging. Certainly the card. I will keep the packaging for a little while in case I decide to revert back and use the packaging again. And then I will revisit my storage solution, I think is the best way to do this. Now, this pack here, for instance, this is from Crafty Individuals. Now you can probably see it's actually got 4 different stamps. Now I have only used these 2. So the sort of 2 journaling card size stamps. I haven't actually used the fan or the gloves. So those I'm not going to keep in the box, because they're for me not a stamp that, you know, I'm really going to be using an awful lot, because obviously I haven't even used them at all ever. So I'm going to just put them back in that packaging, and then, as I say, when I revisit this I can then sort them out again. So I've got this one here. Oops, and again that one I can just pop in. This one, again, it's all mounted and ready, so I can just pop that in there. I mean, actually, you know, I was loath to take these out of the packaging. The problem is with these stamps, and I don't just mean the ones from Crafty Individuals, I mean generally most of these packets, they end up tearing down the side and splitting, and so your stamps are effectively falling out anyway. I mean, like this one. This one's, you know, falling apart. So actually it's probably, you know, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, to be honest, because what's the point in keeping them in, you know, ripped open packaging, really? So yeah, I'm going to keep the packaging separately, and then when I decide that this is a good, or if I decide that this is a nice way to keep my stamps, the ones that I use really a lot, I will probably bin all this packaging, but I might keep the cards. You know, we'll see. So I'm going to just put them on the chair. Now I've got other stamps that I really like to use, and again, I really like to use them, but in fairness, some of them I don't use so often because I can't then really get to them because they're all just stuffed in this huge box. So let's have another look. So I've got some more from Crafty Individuals here. Now these are these gorgeous postmark stamps. So again, I'm going to just tip them out. Oops. Now, as you can see, a lot of these I've not even mounted. I've used them, but I haven't mounted them on any foam. So I've actually got some foam. So let me just get the foam. So I've got my foam. Now this is a brand new packet, which I had actually bought quite a long time ago, but I just haven't used it yet. So if I just bring this bring this out, and then I can obviously mount the ones. Now again, I don't necessarily, you know, I haven't necessarily used all of these stamps as much as some of the others, if you see what I mean. So I'm only going to do the ones that I really love using to keep here in my, you know, handy container. There's no point having stamps that I'm not necessarily going to be making use of that much. So I've got a variety of ticket type stamps, which I absolutely do love. So I'm just going to stamp them. And I know that I've shown this before. I like to stamp my stamps on the reverse of the foam, so as I know what stamp is on the foam. Okay, doesn't have to be perfect or anything. I'm not looking for perfection. I just want to know roughly, you know, which stamp it is that's there. So then I'm just going to cut that foam out like that. Oops. Okay. Oops, sorry, I've just dropped some bits on the floor. Let me just get those before they end up in the bin. So I'm just going to then mount the stamp. I mean, I know I talked about this before. I mean, this is the only thing you do need to be aware of. In fact, I'm probably better off going this way, I think. With the crafty individual stamps, is they do not come mounted. You have to mount them. I mean, you can probably see that took me all of like 2 minutes to mount. You know, probably not even. So the mounting's not a big deal, but I guess it's something to be aware of if you're buying their stamps, you know, particularly for the first time. They're going to come to you not mounted. Now, as I say, I have been using these stamps anyway, not mounted. The point is you're going to get a better impression if they are mounted. So it's just something to keep in mind. I mean, personally, you know, I don't mind mounting them because their stamps are really lovely. You know, so I think actually their stamps are so nice that they're worth, you know, they're worth the mounting. So again, just pop that down there. And then I wonder if I should just, no, I think I still am better off cutting around this. So I can never decide whether you're better off actually mounting it and then cutting it. But the problem is then I don't want to peel the mount all off of everything else. Right, I'm just checking that I've got this the right way up. So hopefully got that the right way up now. So we just, whoops, not now. Okay, just pop that down like that. And again, I'll just trim around that now to get any excess foam, just because obviously that's you know, adhesive on the back, so it would just make it sticky to touch. But that's that, and that's now mounted. And there's another ticket version here, so again I'm going to mount that one. Wow, I'm thinking this box is going to take absolutely forever to go through, isn't it? So yeah, we might have to do this like over several weeks, but probably not consecutive weeks, because I'm sure you will all be so bored watching this. Right, so I mean that one's come out really, you know, scrappily and not a very good impression at all, but it's fine. It's good enough to show me what that stamp actually is. So, you know, that's all that really you want to see, is just so you can roughly tell at a glance, oh, that's that stamp, you know. Right, again, let's just check. Hopefully that's the right way up. I just peel the backing off and just pop that down. Yeah, I mean, actually, I'm quite horrified. Once I pull that box of stamps out, I'm actually quite horrified at how many stamps I do have. I mean, obviously, they have been accumulated over many, many years. It's not like I've just bought them all, you know, straight off the bat. You know, I've accumulated them off, you know, over a lot of years. Now this one, as you can see, this was before I even had any foam, and I've mounted it onto this really thick foam. I probably just glued it, I think. It's fine, it's still stuck on there. So this one is a stamp that I like using. It's a postmark. I'm just going to pop that straight in the box. And then from the other ones, I'm just going to check which of these that I maybe do quite like. Oops, it looks like I've got some mixed up sets here even, because these aren't even all the, you know, the right sets for this packet. So yeah, right, okay, so I probably take these two or three, I think. Okay, so the rest I'm going to pop back in here, and again just pop them to one side. So again, I'll just quickly mount those before putting them into the box. Now this one's quite a long stamp. It's going to be a little bit tricky to stamp nicely onto this foam at all. So I'll just see how it goes. Okay. Oops. Yeah, not really stamped that very well at all, but again, you know, it doesn't really matter. Now this one, because it's not stamped very well, I'm going to peel this backing down and actually stick it on and then cut around it, I think. Okay. Just because it's actually quite hard to see from the stamped side, you know, where I need to cut. So I'll just cut that down around here. Again, probably not doing my scissors much good here either, to be honest. So this is probably a how not to mount your stamps. Okay, so that's that one. And then here, this is another sort of bit of a fiddly shaped one, so I'll just put that here. Yeah, I feel incredibly bad actually now I'm looking at the amount of stamps that I have, but as I say, I mean, they have been bought over sort of, you know, lots of years, so it's not like I've just been out and bought them. I've had them for a long time and they've gradually built up. So, but yeah, nonetheless I do feel slightly bad at the amount I've got. But so again, I'm just going to cut that round here. I love stamps though. I know that I've done in other videos, you know, where I've talked about sort of basic supplies and things. I did a, you know, building up your supplies from scratch as a beginner. And I know that I talked about stamps then. I mean, personally, I think if you're just starting out, if you buy some very carefully chosen stamps, they are going to last you for a really long time. They're really a good investment. You know, you're going to get years of use out of them, and, you know, tons of different looks and, you know, enjoyment, I think. So definitely for me, I think stamps are, you know, a really brilliant way to, oh, I might just pop this on here actually, a really brilliant way to, you know, get a lot of, I'm going to cut that one straight round and I can get rid of some of that white paper as well. I think they're just a really brilliant way to build up your stash and be able to achieve a lot of different looks, because of course, you know, stamps, you can use them as backgrounds, you can use them as embellishment topper type pieces, you know, all sorts of different things. And, you know, they're really sort of endless, I think, with the possibilities that you get with a stamp. Okay, so that's that one. Right, okay, on to the next packet. So the next packet's very similar. Again, it's a Crafty Individuals one, and again, I've got some mounted and some not in here. So we'll again have a little look. So this one I have mounted. Oh, you can no longer really see the impression. Obviously I had stamped on it, but it's got very marked now. But that one is again a lovely stamp, so I'm going to put that straight in. There's that one there, which is this one here, which again, put that in. And then I've got a couple of tickets, which are really great. That one is really good. Now what's this one? Okay, this is a nice one, so I'm going to mount that. This one is this one for the circus. Now I haven't used that ever, so I'm going to leave that in there. These ones here I have used, but not from this set. When you order things from Crafty Individuals, I'm not saying they always do, but quite often they give you some freebies. and I happen to have several of these as freebies as well, so I have used those. So again, I'm just popping those back into that packet, and you know, I will decide obviously later what to do with, or how to store all of those, because I don't necessarily want to get rid of them just because I'm not using them frequently. But equally, you know, there's no point in them taking up room here on my, you know, frequently used stamps box. So I'll just pop that one in there. Yeah, definitely this was not my intention to actually have them off the packaging, but, or out of the packaging, but to be honest, you can probably see, I mean, my box now, it's already got a ton of stamps in there, and in the packaging I would probably be able to get, you know, an eighth of the amount into that box. So actually, for me, I'm not saying that this is for everybody, but for me actually, I think this is probably, just checking this is the right way up now. For me, I think this is probably a better way of doing it, taking them out of their packaging. There we go. Right, okay. So I have quite a few so far. Let's have a look and see what else we've got. Right, I've got this one from Crafty Individuals. I love this stamp. Again, I've had this for years and years. I don't actually even know whether they still have this stamp, but I absolutely love it. So that will definitely be in there. Put the packaging to one side. Let's have a look what else. I've got this one, which also is another one I love from Crafty Individuals. Actually, most of my favourite stamps, I have to say, they are from Crafty Individuals. Their stamps are just gorgeous. So yeah, most of my favourites are from them. So then I've got these, which are like, you know, numbers from a old-fashioned typewriter. I have to say, I loved them when I bought them. I don't necessarily like them that much now. I don't know whether they came in this packaging. Yeah, I don't honestly know. I don't think they did, although they do fit perfectly. All right, so they're going back in. I've got these Kaisercraft like washi stamps. Again, I quite like them, but they're not sort of stamps that I use all the time. I mean, I'm putting them to the side if basically, you know, they're stamps that I do quite like. Don't necessarily use all the time, but definitely would not be stamps that I would throw out, you know. And we probably all have those kinds of things, don't we? Where, you know, we quite like them, don't necessarily use them all the time, but we're definitely not wanting to throw them out. So again, I've got this one. It's another Crafty Individuals. Absolutely gorgeous. So that's going in there. So I'm not going to know myself. To be able to have all of these stamps at the side of my desk is going to be awesome. Right. So here I've got another packet of Crafty Individuals, and I suspect this is where some of those postmark stamps got mixed up from. So again, I've got a ticket here. It is mounted. I've got this little tiny, which must be this, which is super cute, absolutely minuscule. Well, I guess sometimes I might want something really tiny. Now I haven't mounted any of these, but they are all very nice stamps. So I'm thinking mounting all of them. This one must be from the other packet, I think. Right, so yeah, I think I'm going to mount all of these and have them all in my ready to use box, because they're all very nice stamps. So let's try. Oops, stamped the wrong side. I mean, obviously, to be fair, what you could do is when you get your stamps, if they're on like a collage type thing like this, just stamp the whole lot, you know, because they come obviously in a square block, sort of similar to this, but they're all stuck together. Mount the whole lot and then cut them out then. Obviously, I haven't done that because I have mounted mine, you know, over different times. So I've kind of used them and yeah, not used them, things like that. So I have not done this in the most efficient way at all. Obviously, the most efficient way would be get your stamps and then mount them straight away, all of them in one go, and then cut them out once they're on the foam. You know, that's going to then prove a lot easier, isn't it? Right, So for instance here, I'm going to cut this down like that, and then check it's up the right way. Pop the foam down like that. Now I've got a lot of foam obviously overhanging that, so I'm just going to trim that down like that. And I mean, actually, again, if it was mounted on the foam, to be fair, you're going to make a much better job of, you know, cutting it around on the foam. I think I'm just a bit stingy with the foam, so if ever there's a couple of stamps that I think, oh, I might not use that one, I'm a bit stingy and don't want to necessarily waste my foam mounting it if I'm not going to necessarily be using it. So yeah, it's just stinginess really, I think, that's resulted in my stamps being cut the way they've been cut. So this one, again, trying to check that it's going to be up the right way before pressing it down. There we go. I know that some other companies also have unmounted stamps. I can't remember the name. I feel like it could be Darkroom Door, but please don't quote me on that because that might be completely inaccurate information. I mean, I guess they do it because it really keeps the cost down. I mean, these are really intricate stamps that crafty individuals sell, and you know, they're really affordable, and I think partly that's because they haven't mounted them. If they, you know, were mounted, they would no doubt be, you know, one stamp would maybe be the cost of the entire pack. So from that point of view, you know, they've kind of kept the cost down by this mounting step being missed by them and passed on to you. But, you know, that does make them sort of much more affordable. So I guess it swings in roundabouts. Okay, so again, just cut that down. So, you know, you can see that obviously if you weren't so stingy with your foam, the more efficient way would be pop the whole thing on, you know, stamp the whole thing in its entirety and then cut them out once they're on there. Okay, so we just have a couple more left to do out of this packet. So I've just got this little postcard stamp here. I'm so sorry about that noise. They're obviously drilling outside, or I don't know whether they're drilling or something anyway, with some sort of noisy tool. So they obviously weren't doing that when I started the video. Okay, tip that one up, put that down. So as I say, I mean, obviously I have got a lot of stamps and this is going to take several weeks to go through the stamps. So I probably won't do, you know, stamps every week on the trot, you know, because that would be so boring, I'm sure, for everyone to watch. So I think what I'll do is kind of flit around, and now this one's a little bit trickier because it's obviously got that sort of longer shape there, but that's fine. I will kind of do that like that, I think. Probably not really inked that one very well, but never mind. Yeah, I think it would be very, very boring. So I will try and do these stamps, you know, with kind of breaks in between, so as it's not quite so dull just doing stamps week in, week out for ages. Right. I'm going to struggle with cutting that out. I just know that I am. So let's just do this teeny one, because that will just fit here. And again, I'll just put that straight down like that. And then I'll just do this one as well. I can just put that one there. Okay, right. So then again, I can go back in on my foam and just cut those out. Yeah, I've got to have my window open again because it's very hot still. So, and I know I always say this and you're probably all very bored from hearing and now I've wasted loads of foam anyway. I might as well have done what I was talking about, that I was too stingy to do, because I've effectively been extravagant with the foam now anyway. But I think that's partially because I'm on camera. I didn't want to really muck about. And I'm stood up, obviously, doing this because, you know, whilst you're tidying, it's not really the best thing to be doing sat down, is it? So that's my excuse. Right. Cut along there. Oops. Yeah, I know that I'm forever saying it, but obviously I'm filming ahead. So again, I'm just going to repeat myself again. But if you're watching this in the UK and it's foul weather and freezing, I'm not lying, honestly. I'm filming this ahead. So at the point of filming, it is boiling. It's that horrible, muggy, horrible, really hot temperatures. So yesterday was 32 or 33, I think. I don't know what the temperature is today because I haven't been out. So, but it's hot. It's hot and muggy. Right, let's just cut that down. Okay. So I have quite a lot of stamps already now in this little box. This is empty packaging again. I'll just put that to the side. And then I also had one more that I'm just going to put in as well. Now these were from the Wish app. And I got these after watching Patricia Varimontes quite a long time ago, maybe like 18 months ago. And she used some stamps from the Wish app. And I just thought they were so lovely. And they were obviously super cheap, like $1.99 or some crazy cheap price. Now, the thing is with these, obviously, I don't necessarily want to put these floating around in the box because obviously these have still got the cling, you know, on the back. And if I just put them floating around in here, they're going to definitely lose that. So I'm thinking, I mean, what I do quite often like to do is mount my stamps that are my favourites. If I just show you what I mean. So for instance here, now this is I think this was a Tim Holtz, I think, stamp. And if I just get this book page, it's a lovely stamp. And obviously it came, I think this was some of Tim Holt's Tiny Things or something like that. And all I did was obviously used an old stamp, so some like happy birthday stamps, peeled off the original stamp, and then I've glued this on. And I do really like doing that. When they're sort of favourite stamps that I use all the time, I quite like them on the mounted blocks. I'm not sure what to do with these. So from that perspective, do I keep these in their packaging, which therefore is going to obviously take up room if I wanted to have these in the box? Or shall I come to these at a later date in my big box here and just have these for stamps that I can put in, if you see what I mean? So, I mean, my box is obviously still very, very full. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. So we've just made a small start, really. So if I just bring the huge box back in, you can see it's not really emptied out barely at all. I've got a couple of mounted wooden stamps, you know, that were purchased that way. This one is another one of those Crafty Individuals ones on the foam that I've mounted, and I again mounted this onto a large wooden block. So I like those two. I might keep those out on my craft trolley in there. Now obviously they're pretty big. They're taking up quite a lot of room in the box. So I can't do too many like that. So can you see there? You know, again, this is just a first attempt. You know, I'm just trying to get on top of everything at the moment, and we may come and revisit. Yeah, we may come and revisit how we've decided to store things. So this one, again, I love this stamp, but I haven't used this a great deal, so I'm not going to put this in my, you know, most popular stamps. But these ladies, I've got my favourites from these, which are actually these two. So the other ones I haven't even mounted yet because I didn't like them so much. I don't know why, but just, yeah, just they weren't my cup of tea so much. But these have already been mounted. So again, I'm going to pop those into my frequently used stamps. Let's just see what else we've got. I've got this one, which is a Crafty Individuals again, and this one. So what I'm going to do, again, I haven't mounted these two. So let me put the large box to the side. So these two I love. This one I have had for years and years and years. Again, I don't even know, it might be a retired stamp now. You know, yeah, I don't honestly know because it's so old. But again, I'm going to just stamp that onto the foam here. As you can see, I mean, I have used this, you know, for years without mounting it. Obviously, I'm going to get much better impressions from it with it being mounted. Again, I probably, when I bought it, didn't have any foam and then, you know, managed to just get by using it like this. But I'm sure that I will absolutely love it now that it's going to be mounted and obviously accessible on my desk or, you know, on my craft trolley. So again, just pop that on and then just cut around that like that. Oops. Okay, and then just trim that down like that. Oops, I have bits now stuck all over my scissors, which again is not ideal, and that's why you're probably better off just mounting them as a complete block, because then you're not going to have all this, you know, mucking about with your foam. So that one's now mounted and it's obviously got the stamped image on the back, so I'm going to love being able to use that, you know, regularly because it's just there handy. Again, I'm going to put that packaging to the side. And then the final one that I'm going to mount is, again, it's another Crafty Individuals one, this gorgeous stamp with the ducks. And again, I've used this quite a bit, but again, every time I've used it, obviously I've managed to just sort of bodge it without mounting it. So again, I'm sure I won't know myself once it's actually mounted because, you know, it's going to obviously print so much better as well. So again, just stamp that onto the foam so as I know what that stamp is. I mean, obviously I can see from the other side what it is, but it's nice to be able to see, you know, on the back, isn't it? I have stamped that a little bit high, I have to say, but again, it doesn't really matter. Obviously, I've not made a very good job of stamping that again, but it doesn't matter. It's just literally for my own purposes so that I know roughly what stamp is there. So again, just pop that down. This one's great because it's obviously just a square, so it's going to be nice and easy to cut out. Okay. And then just along here. That's it. Okay, so that's now mounted. So I think I've made a pretty good start there of oops, sorry, just trying to get that piece of paper off there. A pretty good start there of some of my, you know, really most loved and most used stamps, just to be able to have them on my craft cart. Obviously my box is still very, very full, so I'm going to pull that in and show that to you guys, or I'm going to actually move the phone and show you that way, I think. And I will show you this in its place. Right, so as you can see, tons and tons of stamps still left. I'm feeling very embarrassed that I obviously have so many stamps. As I say, these are like, you know, I have bought these over probably 15 years. Not all of them, obviously, but I mean, like this, I've had for literally years, probably about 12 years. So these have not been collected over sort of a couple of months or anything like that. And then to the side now, this is my little box of my, you know, my stamps that I can just grab, because I can just pull this whole little tray now onto my desk and use that. Now, I have got some other of my favourites, which are in my drawer on my desk, which I obviously pull out from time to time and it jogs the desk and things. I happen to know that I have this one in here, which is again another Crafty Individuals that I love. So I'm going to pop that. And actually I've got this one as well, which is these birds on the teacups. I'm going to pop those into here as well, because again, you know, they're mounted, they're ready to use then. So then I've got obviously my packaging. Some of these have obviously got the odd couple of stamps left in them, but some are empty packaging now. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to separate them out of this box. I don't want to put them back in, and I'm going to keep them separate, and then we can revisit in a few weeks once we see how this this new method of storage is working. I can revisit the packaging and decide then, you know, what to sort of do. You know, whether to, you know, maybe pass on some of the little stamps that I haven't mounted and, you know, haven't used before, or, you know, maybe I will kind of mount them and decide that actually I love those. You know, I'm not sure. So we will revisit them probably in a few weeks. So obviously this isn't the longest video in the world, but to be honest, tidying and organising is not necessarily my best activity. So yeah, I think that's probably enough for today, because I'm probably a little bit boring everybody with the whole sorting through the stamps. But I hope that you're going to join me for the next Tidy Friday, and yeah, I hope it gave you some ideas of maybe how to store your stamps or what to do with your stamps. So thank you so much for watching, and hopefully you'll join me on my next video, and if that's not for you, maybe you will join me next Friday for my next Tidy Friday as well. Thanks then, bye.